Good morning, students and Greg. Today I will be basing my presentation on the reading Social Class and Inequality from the text Education, Society and Change. In an ideal world, it would be nice to think that each person starts their life with a flat, even playing field, which creates equal opportunity for everyone. Unfortunately, this is not the case. We are not all born with the same socio-economic factors like wealth, income, gender, cultural background, and political power. We do not all start off on a level playing field, and therefore the discourse and ideology in Australia that everyone gets a fair go, so long as they try hard enough, completely disregards class inequalities and how social privilege is maintained. Understanding social class helps to address social stratification, which is defined as the division of people into groups based on their social position. The most influential Western theory of social class was initially developed by Karl Marx in the 19th century, who developed the theory of the working class and the capitalist class. This theory was then moulded by German sociologist Max Weber, who argued that society is made up of four classes: a proprietaried upper class, an upper middle class, a lower middle class, and a working class. Weber argued that wealth is not the only contributing factor to social class. In fact, status and political power also play a part in social class division. Weber also conceptualised the idea of life chances, which is defined as the opportunities for social advancement to which individuals and social groups have differential access. For example, children born into families in poor conditions may not have the same life chances as those who are born into wealth and prosperity. Sociologists have argued that education is seen to offer expanded opportunities and, in that way, allows individuals to climb the social class ladder. However, the authors ask us to consider that social mobility of individuals does not necessarily take away social class inequalities. So how does education fit into the issue of social stratification? Is schooling a part of the problem or a part of the solution? French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu and British sociologist Basil Bernstein offer theories as to how education and social inequality relate. Bourdieu developed the theory of cultural capital and social capital. Cultural capital is the knowledge, skills, and dispositions that provide access to social power, and social capital is the resources that individuals have available to them, such as social groups, networks, and relationships. Consider the idea of someone attending a private school in a high socio-economic area and the connections and opportunities they may have, versus someone who attends a lower socio-economic public school that may not provide the same social capital and opportunities. Bernstein developed the theory of educational codes, which is the social practices and knowledge that are valued in educational domains. Consider your own perceptions of what constitutes a good student. What educational codes do you value? Do you consider, for example, physics to be a more prestigious subject than woodshop? You might recall in ED 1421, Week 2, Topic 3, where we learnt about social norms and dominant cultures, and how often schools and educators may have what is called a deficit view of disadvantaged students or students from diverse cultural backgrounds. In order to combat this bias, the authors of this reading encourage teachers to think of children coming to school with a virtual school bag. What experiences and culture are they bringing with them? You may have a child from an Indigenous background coming to school with multiple languages, ancient cultural stories, art, music, and knowledge of generational food culture. However, this child may not fit in with the dominant culture or educational code and is therefore misunderstood as having a deficit in knowledge and not given the same value as a child who fits the educational mould. In linking Bourdieu and Bernstein's theories back to social class and social stratification, I want to pose this question. Who do you think it is that is creating these educational codes? Is it the people in high positions of power and social class who are creating the policies and curriculum that determine what is being taught and assessed in schools? Who is creating the summative assessment that focuses on maths and English and negate cultural experiences? And are the outcome of these assessments contributing to social stratification? So an important question to ask is, what is the agenda of people in power and what do they believe to be the purpose of education? Is it that the purpose of education is to create amenable citizens with effective literacy and excellent work ethic? But what if a child does not fit into this political and economic purpose? Their opportunities may not be the same, and therefore, in this way, the authors suggest that education can be a means of reproducing class-based inequalities. A controlling idea throughout this reading is that imbalances of power are maintained through the education system. This is done by the people in power enforcing certain ideologies that suit their agenda. The authors of this reading are trying to assert that education throughout history has been a major contributing factor to social class inequality. They endeavour to help teachers be aware of social injustices and how they can be a part of change. On the other hand, some viewpoints that could have been investigated in this reading include the voice of the policymakers, discussions on class equity within schools, research into countries that are seeing smaller class divisions, and finally, the voice of the children from various social classes. The authors then go on to suggest that rather than reproducing educational and social disadvantage, educators can interrupt class division with pedagogical practices such as productive pedagogies. Hayes et al. 2006 developed the idea of productive pedagogies, which encourages teaching practices based on intellectual quality, connectedness of knowledge, supportive classroom environments, and explicitly working with and valuing social differences. While there are some further issues that could be explored in this reading, it does shed light on the critical issue of social class and inequality. As teachers, we need to consider all aspects of social class and how social class causes social stratification, so that we can be powerful agents of change, rather than being contributing factors to social divide. Thank you, students, and Greg.